You're watching Times Now. I'm Pratibha. Let's begin with some breaking news now coming in. Pan-India arson and vandalism has been reported. Sonia Gandhi is at the Enforcement Directorate and protesters have hit the streets yet again. Yesterday we saw several instances of vandalism. And today as well, it's no different. The Congress party has called it a satyagraha as Sonia Gandhi is being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. But vandalism has marked the protest in several of the places. Yesterday in the national capital, in Hyderabad, in Indore, separate cases of vandalism being reported. Now as well, today the same story plays out. On one hand, the Congress party says that it is willing to cooperate with the agencies, which is why Sonia Gandhi is appearing before the Enforcement Directorate. On the other hand, these are the scenes that are playing out on the streets. Shivani is joining us live with more details on the protest going on in Mumbai. Shivani, protesters there trying to halt a train. What exactly happened? The police officials seem to have intervened.
Yes, of course, there are several people, those have got detained from the Borivali railway station, whereas the Congress youth workers were protesting at the railway station. And not only that, but they came right in front of a local train over here and they tried to stop and halt that train. And in fact, some of them were sitting on the tracks also for the few seconds of time, where the cops of railway came there to stop them, but they did not really, escape or, remove themselves from the railway tracks. Instead, the railway police also requested them to get aside and conduct their protest outside the railway station and not on the tracks, because it is very difficult to handle such situation. Injuries can happen, any incident can happen, and also the railway will get affected, and many people, those are traveling through this local trains, their timing, their work will also get affected. But they did not listen. In fact, some of them stood on the railway engines and they entered the railway compartments, and that's how they stopped that particular local train for several minutes of time, and they continued their protest, and slogans were raised by them in support of Sonia Gandhi and against Enforcement Directorate. And after that, when the verbal conversation, the verbal request did not really work with them, the cops have detained all of those people, those were sitting on the railway track, saying that they have disturbed and abrupt the railway functions, and they did not take prior permission from the cops to conduct this particular protest. The same kind of a visual we saw yesterday as well from Nagpur, where they burnt an entire four-wheeler car, and there also 40 people were detained from the Nagpur police. The way we can see that the Congress one side calling it a satyagraha and silent protest, but are also somewhere stopping the work of people, somewhere affecting the people, just because summons are being served from the central agencies to Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, clearly showcases that satyagraha is just a name, but somewhere it is Congress workers, those are derogating the meaning of satyagraha, which was raised by Mahatma Gandhi. And somewhere we are seeing yesterday also Ashok Chavan, Nana Patole, several ministers and top leaders of Congress party, those have served in Maharashtra. They also say that we are going to conduct this protest till the investigation happens with Sonia Gandhi, and we are going to do silent protest so that it does not affect the people of Mumbai, the people of the state. But the way these visuals are coming in, where the workers are standing and halting the train, are sitting on the railway tracks, are burning the cars, clearly showcases that Congress within themselves is confused as to how they have to lead this particular satyagraha.
Right, Shivani, there are 2 points. On one hand, the Congress leaders have been saying that they are cooperating with the central agency. Sonia Gandhi is going for the questioning. On the other hand, there's clear no cooperation, intervention of the Enforcement Directorate, as well as the Congress workers in several of the ED offices have stormed in, have indulged in vandalism. On the other hand, the Congress saying that this is a satyagraha, it's their right to protest. But it's not their right to vandalize, it's not their right to cause inconvenience to the common man on the streets.
Well, definitely here, as we were rightly discussing, that a car was burnt in Nagpur, that was not of a Congress worker, not of a Congress leader, neither that was purchased by them, but it was of a common man which was burnt there. And who is going to pay the losses? Same way, when the protests are happening, the Mumbai police is there on the spots, vandalization takes place, the shops over there, the local people, they get affected, the roads are being blocked. Somewhere we also saw that how for 20-25 minutes important VIPs areas, lanes and signals were also halted because the Congress workers were protesting on the road. Somewhere it clearly showcases that they are affecting the lives of common people here. In fact, few days back when Congress was protesting outside the CST railway station, which is also the biggest and most crowded railway station here in Mumbai, that way also we saw that there was a huge traffic jam that took place. People were halted, they were stood at a side because signals were stopped. Hundreds of numbers of Congress workers were marching towards this ED office, where we also saw that how people were ultimately getting affected. Their shops are getting affected. Some of the time we also saw that how the Congress workers end up rushing when the police detains them to nearest shops, and they also somewhere bear the losses because of Congress workers. So calling it a satyagraha and then doing a vice versa thing clearly showcases that the Congress themselves does not actually know as to how they have to lead, because one side they are saying that it is the BJP who is trying to crush the opposition, but also the opposition not raises the question with respect to the Aam Aadmi topics and their issues, but only coming on the roads for summons those are being issued by ED and other agencies.
Right. Shivani, thank you for joining us with those details.